3, 2, 1, 0.
Would have been anything else earlier.
Yeah, that's it. All that worked out great. What up? Welcome to Dynamite Rocketship. I'm your host, Toby McMullen. Please subscribe on the YouTube, subscribe on all the audio platforms. We're on all of them. My guest today is the man. A guy who, I mean, talk about starting in the mailroom and working your way up in this damn city, in this damn fucking business. I love him to death. He's... how do I even describe your involvement? He's one of the main guys. I mean, the main guys at this point.
Chris Vega introduced me over the weekend in Exotica as producer extraordinaire.
Perfect. Producer extraordinaire over at the Gas Digital Network. Kind of wrote the book on the production side of things there, if you believe it or not. He's a part of the Armored League, which is incredible. Guys in medieval gear beating the shit out of each other. It's fantastic. I just went to one of their shows. I had a blast. He's got a monthly show at the New York Comedy Club called Anxiety Attack. When's the next Armored League show?
They're both actually the same night, November 20th. So I'm going to be pulling double duty over at Melrose Ballroom, 7 p.m. show for the Armored League, and then I'm going to shoot across town to New York Comedy Club on East 4th Street for a 10:15 show that night.
He's got his fingers in a lot of pies, and I'm so happy he's here with me. Please welcome to the program, Mr. Mike Harrington.
Woo! Thanks for having me, Toby. This is a lot of fun.
Thank you for coming in, dude. I greatly appreciate it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, you hooked us up, got us into the Armored League, let us interview some of the fighters, showed us the whole thing. Unbelievable promotion you guys have.
But dude, it's like there's something that's just so downright inclusive about armored fighting where, like, you know, you don't know who's under that helmet. Like, it could straight up be a Mulan situation where, like, the fighter takes off the helmet and it's a 6'2" blonde chick who's
And
like,
it was
stunning.
It was.
It happens.
It was that one chick was like Bran of Tarth, dude.
Yeah, it happens, and it's like there's just something about it that feels so like it's just the most Brooklyn thing known to man. You know.
It made me so happy and revitalized to live in this city where on a Thursday night you can go watch guys with swords and axes in full armored gear just batter each other, dude. It was fucking awesome.
Rebecca Trent used to have the coolest sticker in her bathroom in the Creek when it was in Long Island City. It said, "You didn't move to New York City to stay at home and watch TV." And it's like, I feel like that's what the Armored League represents more than anything, is like, where else in the world could you go see the Chainsmokers on a Wednesday, come see guys beat the crap out of each other in medieval gear on a Thursday, and then catch a Knicks game on a Friday? Like, this city does have so much to offer, and it's like, you do need a very dense urban population to sustain the amount of fighters, like the amount of like mental patients we have who are willing to put on armor and beat each other up in front of crowds is pretty fun.
Yeah, I was blown away by it. If you gave me such a succinct, and I'm working on a video on this I'm going to put out there because I really loved it. You gave me such a succinct breakdown of. Give me that again. Where you're like, it's fully armored combat with it was so perfect.
God, I mean, I wish I could remember that too, because I have thought about that interview with you about 4 times where I was like, I finally found out how to sell this thing.
Dude, you sell it. It was so good. I was like, man, he really worked on that. That was perfect.
No, dude, God spoke through me. No, but it is. It's full contact mixed martial arts without the blood and gore, right? So you can bring your chick out, do it. She's not going to be worried about, is that guy going to lose that eye because it's like super bloody or anything, like the stuff that makes. I saw this with my daughter, and I do think my 2-year-old daughter speaks for the mind of the average woman, right? Where we took her to pro wrestling because we were venue scouting for the Armored League, and when I tell you, like, guys are doing the craziest stuff, they're hitting each other with chairs, they're doing backflips off top rope. She was excited, on the edge of her seat, so excited, and then one dude hit another dude with like a cane, and he busted open, and all of a sudden the blood comes to the outside, and my daughter like couldn't have recoiled faster, was like talking to my wife, like, yo, can we please like put me back in the carriage? Like, I can't be watching this. So there is something to be said for like, they love the violence, they love the impact, the loud hits of the steel on steel. And the fact that they know nobody's getting that hurt inside, it makes women so happy. So it's like every show is hot chicks. Like there's so many beautiful women there. And like people are constantly shocked by it. And I'm like, nah, dude, like girls love fight sports. They hate blood.
Yeah. It's good. It's a good time. I was on that, not on the fence, because you were so hyped on it and I trust your taste. So I was like, this is going to be a good time. And it so exceeded my expectations. I was like showering today thinking about it. And I was like, dude, fighting in medieval times would have sucked so hard, dude. Yeah. You're just getting taxed to shit by England. You're like, fuck this. I can't take it anymore. I'm putting on my fucking skirt. I'm putting on I'm putting on my shawl, and I'm getting out in a field. I'm going to murder some guys. And then some rich motherfucker comes wearing a tank.
Yeah, dude.
And there's nothing to be done.
So like when I really started getting into this, like there are dudes who do like full on cosplay, but they call it HEMA, historical European martial arts, right?
Yeah.
And they do those like demonstrations of like what it would look like for 10 peasants with like, pitchforks or maybe like the odd rusty sword that was passed down from their grandfather or whatever.
One guy was like, oh, I found a slightly pointed rock.
Right. Like 10 of those guys versus a knight. And it's like he goes through them like a hot knife through butter, dude.
It
like,
just can't be stopped.
It's impossible. It's you need a knight to match a knight at that point. But what gets interesting is like, I've seen it from guys just fighting all day in the hot sun where, they're doing, I've done shows down in Maryland where they'll do the melees, right? So they'll do 5-on-5. And the way that works is if you just need to knock the other guy down. Like there's no point system. It's not, it's just teams. And then if you get at any point, it gets to 3-on-1, they call it. Right. If it's 3-on-1, if it's 2-on-1 at the end, you can keep fighting. But, these guys, like they'll have to do like 5 or 6 of these, like, per heat. And by the end of it, they're exhausted because they've just been up fighting these dudes in 80 pounds of armor with the sun beating down on them. So it's like, I guess, end of the day, if you were to catch a knight at like 4 p.m. and you were rested.
Well, yeah, I mean, they are fighting in an air fryer. They're just getting cooked, dude.
Yeah.
I worked my way up. One thing about if you get me into an event and I'm provided a wristband and I have a camera, I become the most entitled. I'm just like, no one's saying no to me, dude. I'm going where the fuck I want. So I went right up against the rail. I'm getting these shots. I'm so psyched on the footage I got. It's fucking great. But I was sitting there and I was in between fights and I was like squatting down because I'm like trying to, because my instinct if I have a camera in my hand, like everything goes away. I'm only concerned about getting the sickest footy possible.
Yeah.
But I was in that moment. It's like I'm a guest here. I don't want to be like. I don't want to be blocking people or whatever, so I'm like trying to hunch down in between or like be as non-intrusive as possible. And there were 2 guys who were sitting on the ground behind me, and we're in between fights. And I turn around, I look at this dude, and he goes, "Have you ever been to one of these before?" I go, "No. What about you?" He goes, "No, this is fucking amazing, dude." He's like, "I'm coming to every one. This is the best shit I've ever seen." I was like, "Right? This is fucking." But the camaraderie is, dude. People were stoked.
It was very fun for me because we were told we were going to have at the bare minimum 2 wireless mics. They ended up with only 1, so I had to keep passing them back and forth between Morgan Cole and Fega doing the post fight interviews. But when we finally did like get in a position in the front, I see you directly across the way, seated. Like the only thing stopping you from getting kicked in the face by these guys was that the marshal was so quick with it, like moving around and blocking these guys from ever like spilling off into the crowd.
She was on it.
Yeah.
They have like the marshal.
Yeah,
kind of like the ref.
Yeah, I think actually the Armor League does call it the referee, so that's my bad. Yeah,
but truly providing crowd defense of like anytime they would start to get towards the barrier, she would be like, guys. And I'm just sitting there just like, because my mentality is like cameras are tools. If my camera gets smashed but the footy is sick, it's like totally worth it.
Okay.
So like I'm like not concerned about me at all. And there was a moment where they were like right on me and she like pushed them off and I was like, dude, lock in. You're gonna get fucking hit with these guys. Yeah. These guys are really, really swinging for the fences. And it's like this perfect soup of MMA, professional wrestling, where there are guys who are kind of heels and there are guys who are kind of faces. Like I love that one dude who's real sweet. We got to talk to him. His name is going to escape me. He plays the bagpipes.
Oh, Jesse. Jesse plays the pipes.
Yeah. But what Sunshine?
Shortbread.
Yeah.
The tiniest fighter.
Yeah. So good. It's such a sweetheart. And then, I mean, the king of the league, Mando.
Mando's the man.
This dude wears he's got the full night gear and then a Mandalorian helmet, and he just fucks dudes up. Doesn't sit between rounds.
No. Him and Orion are both like, they're probably the best two guys in New York, and we've had to start like bringing ringers in from like around, like the best dudes up from Maryland, the best dudes from like Rhode Island and New England, like get those guys down, because it stinks when we have to have the same main event like 2 months in a row like we just had back to back.
Well, the thing about those guys is if they had been born in like the 1420s or whatever, they would have castles on hills full of babes.
Yeah.
You see these guys battering dudes, and you go, oh, that's a guy who would be hand-fed grapes. Like that guy would have ran shit back in the day.
So like there's this dude, the best guy in the sport, right? This is my personal favorite dude, most fun I've had watching anybody fight. I catch all of his fights online, even if I'm not calling them. This dude, Johnny Porter, like, he treats it like, I could definitely have a career in like LFA and then maybe get a call to Dana White Contender Series, but like, am I really going to put 6 years into that to maybe get a 10-10 contract where like I could actually take all of the wrestling and cool stuff that I know from MMA, put on armor and go fuck up dorks. So like I don't know if he would qualify as the like, the those techniques weren't around, like the average MMA bro wasn't around back then, but somebody like Mando, who's like, I did 20 years in the military, I love fighting in armor, I'm so sick with a sword, like, and I can command, like men will follow me if I lead, like,
yeah, dude.
Yes, dude, he 100% would have a castle.
I am such a sucker for a hyped crowd, and the crowd at that show was so hyped. It's like we're outside, it's cold, and people did not give a fuck. They were so stoked. It was sick.
I was talking to one guy at the very beginning. He was like, all we need is like 6 or 8 of those like pole like heater things. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that would have been sick. But honestly, by the end of the night, I don't think anybody was cold anymore.
No.
Like everybody was on top of each other, like getting as close as they could to the action.
Dude, nothing helps you out more when it's a little frigid out than a little bloodlust.
Yeah, dude. It genuinely does boil your blood.
And the smartest thing I thought about the whole promotion was the fan fights.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
that was a Mike Harrington original idea.
That was you?
We were at so we did this like one-off show at this place called the Mayday Space in Brooklyn, and the commissioner, like the Dana White of the league, let's say, right? Like his idea was when the people are filling in, we'll have guys start putting on, or we'll have them soft kit fight, and then somebody will put on their armor in full view of everyone. It made no sense. But we got the soft kit fight off. And I mentioned, like, while we had just a little bit of downtime, I was like, yo, why don't we just put some of the fans in the fucking soft kit and let them beat the crap out of each other? And that blew the roof off the place. And for the next 3 events, he's offered it as a ticket level.
Dude, it's awesome. Because the crowd gets behind it, and it honestly felt more dangerous than the actual fighters because at least they know what they're doing,
right?
And then these guys it's just haymakers, dude. It's just pure brutality. And so
I saw a guy suplex another guy in one of the fan fights.
Awesome.
Insane. Like
Awesome.
full, like Brock Lesnar, like grabbed him by the waist and threw him across the ring at Melrose Ballroom.
Dude, my favorite moment, one of my favorite moments of the whole night was it's a fan fight. You know, it's just two random guys from the crowd who are just going to wail on each other. And the first guy gets introduced, and they're like from Ireland or from the UK, obviously different places. I just can't remember which one it was. And the second they say facts, the second that they say this dude's from overseas, everybody starts booing. Everybody's like, "Boo! Fuck this bullshit!" And they're expecting, you know, from Long Island, like from New York, and the next day they were like, also from Ireland, and everyone kind of didn't know what to do.
We like that one.
We'll pick this guy. I was like, dude, that's so funny to be like, he ain't from here, boo, and then he also ain't from here, so yeah, I guess.
We got to pick one. That's ours.
Yeah, but I had a goddamn blast, dude.
Yeah, that is. It's amazing. Like, it's amazing how much that thing has grown. Like, around this time last year, Anthony had hit me up about doing a show in like December. He ended up putting that off until like February, and that was we did that at Ideal Glass Studios in the West Village, which like they're going back to for a pop-up fight on Friday for like a Halloween thing. But from there, like we were at American Dream the next time out, like the giant mall in New Jersey, in like their skating rink. That was super fun. Did 2 shows at Melrose Ballroom, and then these like. Aside from the little pop-ups, that one and $3 bill was one of the bigger ones. And it's like, I feel like each one is growing and getting bigger and bigger. And it's amazing to me that I've only walked into the same space twice to do this, you know? Like, it's like it's growing to a point where like it's outstripping the venue pretty much every time.
Well, it's cool, it's unique, it's everything you said about like it provides you the bloodlust and excitement of there's actual stakes, and there is some danger, but like some safety as well. But it also doesn't require some of the nuance that, you know, being a fan of like MMA, where you can MMA, like, I mean, pretty straightforward, guys in a cage throwing punches.
Yeah.
But once it gets to the more like technical, like jiu-jitsu side of things, it can lose people. But this is like, dude, everybody gets this.
And what I like too about the way we do things, it's like there's no season long points thing. There's nothing like nothing to keep track of really. It's like, this is a Grand Prix. One guy is leaving here with a not that big cash prize, right? Like everybody else is leaving here empty-handed. That's what, and like each time it's a new champion. Like dude, there's no belt to defend.
And old school UFC style, where it's a tournament that goes the whole night. So you see a guy fight 3-4 times.
Right. Yeah. And like there are people who've like built real connections. I mean, especially like Mando is obviously the fan favorite. He's the best guy, but like
he's so tight.
Like I've seen guys who've like, you know, they came to like the pop-up show Mayday, or they were at Ideal Glass, and then they're like now have the ringside tickets at Melrose, and like as Mando's coming out, they're like, yo, you got robbed, man. This is like, they're not there to see Knights, they're there to root on Mando, you know. So it's it's I mean, dude, I'm so blessed to have I answered a text about doing commentary for Micro Wrestling, and I was like, yeah, I'm in for that. And then 3 days earlier, they were like, or 3 days before we were supposed to go down there, they were like, oh, yo, our bad, we got the dates wrong. This weekend's not Micro, it's Medieval Fights. Are you guys still down? And me and Vega were like, yeah, dude, for sure. And it's like, now we're just the voice of Armored Combat, which I'm very excited about.
It's the most random, but makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Where, you know, to go from, if you had told me a decade ago when I was a dog walker in Chicago, listening to Legion of Skanks, listening to the Intern Olympics.
Oh, hell yeah.
That one day I would be watching you do commentary for Medieval Fights, and I was going to be so hyped on it. I would have been like, no shot, dude. No way.
Me and Faye and I, who I did, you know, I lovingly referred to him in the last time we opened up the broadcast at Melrose, and we actually got to do like a proper like working man shot, like at a booth doing sports commentary. I was like, oh, Dateline, Astoria. I'm Mike Harrington here with my hetero life mate, Chris Fagan. We ask each other all the time, how did we get these jobs? You know, like I remember I was at like an indie wrestling show, and my friend Zach Amico enters the ring as like straight up dressed like Dr. Frankenfurter. He's doing Rocky Horror Picture Show in a wrestling ring, and I turned to Fega like, how did we get these jobs? Like, how am I watching my friend be a pro wrestler right now? And like, he just texted me, he's in meetings today with Vince Russo, Vampiro, and one of the guys from ICP. Like, it's mind blowing. How did we get these jobs?
Just hanging out in vibes, dude. Because you're a good hang.
I guess.
Because you're a good hang and you kept showing up.
I guess, yeah. Persistence is key with this thing. But yeah, man, it's. I think we settled on. It's because we're pretty irresponsible.
Because you're like, yeah, yes, I will do that.
Yeah, for sure. I'll drive 4 hours for, money that I would be insulted by, when I had a real job, to call, do commentary for fights all day. But it's like, I don't know, dude, you do it a couple of times, it opens some doors. It's very nice. Yeah, we stumbled into it again this weekend.
What'd you do?
We were at the porn convention together all weekend.
Yeah, how and why?
Gas Digital got Ralph is like longtime friends with the guy who owns the convention Exotica. So he reached out to Ralph and was like, "Hey, we don't have anybody like really getting content, like, stuff that's going to live on after the festival to like, kind of just show off what the festival is. If we give you a booth, will you send people down and get content all weekend?" We said, yeah, sure. Why not? So somebody took over Friday and the early part of Saturday, but then for the second half of Saturday and all day Sunday, it was just us running the booth, running around trying to find all of our favorite porn stars from the early 2000s to the 2010s and get them to sit down and be like, yo, so what was that like?
Did that suck or did that rip?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That is so not my world. Okay, so
at all. You're not a porn guy.
No, not really.
Really?
No. Once I, I've always been into indie film and the DIY side of things, the music and pornography. And once I discovered that people were throwing up webcams in their own houses, I really stopped following the mainstream.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I get that. You're DIY till I die.
Yeah, sure.
I got you. Cool,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. But what's a porn convention like? Because I've been to like Comic-Con and shit like that where it's mostly like it's almost like a flea market.
Yeah.
Where it's a lot of people selling. Mm-hmm. So is this a situation where it's a lot of people doing like, they're doing like meet and greets, $50 for a photo and an autograph type deal? Is that
tons of that? So like they had, like at our booth, we had Joanna Angel there, and Joanna was taking pictures of people. I think it was $20 for anything. So it's like, you want a picture, it's $20. You want a kiss on the cheek, $20. You want a sign photo or whatever, same deal. Danny Daniels is there. She has like a lot more stuff, right? Like she has her own coffee line, she has her own underwear line, she does art. So like she had like a whole. It looked like a proper booth you would see at like, I don't know, like you ever been to Savannah and done the Riverwalk down there?
No.
Okay. I'm just trying to think of like classy, like outdoor, exactly flea market, like but like nicer.
Okay.
Hers belonged to the nice one.
No. The porn convention was real classy.
Just her booth. Everything else was like, I mean, I saw 4 different like straight up casting couches. One company, Freak Mob, had a full on bed behind there, and like they had girls giving dudes lap dances. There was a no nudity policy, but like a lot of girls walking around in pasties and,
sure,
all that stuff. Ultimately, as the father of a daughter, it made me very sad.
Yeah, dude, and it's like, I'm not trying to hate on this thing, but it just sounds like a desperation convention where it's like what was the smell like?
Yeah, it did not smell bad. Did not sell that.
Shocking.
Yeah.
Because
no.
anytime you get like, any sort of like, if you like a Super Smash Brothers tournament,
Right.
or like comic book convention, notoriously stinky places. So I'd imagine the fellas, but maybe this is where those dorks clean up.
Yeah, dude. They gotta.
They
this is where they're going to meet their girlfriend.
They're going to meet the woman of their dreams. Yeah. Finally get their shot. Well,
Like, they're not actually going to meet Sonic at Comic-Con. You know what I'm saying? But, like, they could pay $50 to touch a lot of these girls' butts.
Right. Oh, that's so gross and sad and weird. And
Yeah.
I mean, sure, that's
What really, like, the stories that really got me was, like, when I would, like, because, I was pretty good about like waiting for them to not be having a line and make it clear like, hey, I'm not a fan who's like coming up for a signing. I want to grab you for a media thing. I don't want to bother you if you're like, if you think this is making money time, but if you think you have a break here, like, come on. And they would like get their guard down pretty quick. And I would hear from a lot of them like, yeah, I haven't been here in like 6-7 years, but like, just I wanted to see my friends again. And I'm like, oh no, you tried to make it as anything else.
sure.
And you ended up back here.
Yeah, I mean, you got to imagine that OnlyFans just eroded so much of that industry.
Well, no, it's the opposite, actually. Like, all of these, like, I was talking to AJ Applegate, who had, like, an interesting thing where she's like, the coolest thing I ever filmed was X, Y, and Z, and explained, like, her favorite shoot. And I was like, well, now that you have OnlyFans, she's like, oh, yeah, I mean, like, I meant for other people. That's just what I do now because I had that. And it's like, for a lot of these girls, it's almost the opposite. It's like, it's a lifeline for them,
right.
Where, like, yeah, a lot of them are trying to make it as like real estate agents and nurses, and like they're never going to get a job as a kindergarten teacher. You know what I mean? So it's like they kind of run out of options, and like if you want to get back into it, now you're at the bottom of the ladder again, right? Like you may have at one time been a contract girl and commanded X, Y, and Z, but it's like, you'll make some decent money for your like grand return, but 4 or 5 scenes in, you're back to like that UFC 10-10 rate. You know what I mean? Like,
you're fighting for a ham sandwich,
right? So like OnlyFans is like it's a way where like those subscription fees come in, and for the first time in a lot of these girls' lives ever, it's like, oh, I have like a stable monthly income. That's my
and
baseline.
They're kind of their own boss,
right?
You know what I mean?
It's like I'm not shooting this to have this guy sell it and then have this guy repackage and resell that and pay me one fee to sell my scene 8 different times and make money on it every time it's on one of these tube sites. It's like, this is mine. I own this.
I can't knock that at all. There are unfortunately so many parallels between porn and comedy.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And it's like I see a lot of the same sadness as I'm walking around both like even the people who did great in the industry, that sadness is still there.
Yeah, yep. Oh, I mean, it does sound like a good time. Like the novelty of that is like that's if someone was like, "Hey, do you want to go shoot content here?" I'd be like, "Sure."
Yeah. Like they're all very nice. That's like the shocking thing is like it's. I thought it was going to be a lot of like I hate dealing with people, and it's like no, like they're all outwardly like very nice, very very genial or whatever. It's cool.
Yeah, I'm just trying to picture the type of the dudes with the girlfriends there is less shocking than I originally thought it would be.
So Friday is the wild day because women get in free on Fridays. So Friday is
Friday night's ladies' night, baby.
People tell me it's correct. I didn't go this year, but they said Friday was wild. So there's like a lot of chicks who like going there, and I don't know. I'm like, we tried we Fake and I were looking at the dance floor at the after party at the Sheraton, which is like, brother, it's a Sheraton in Edison, New Jersey, and these girls treat it like it's the fucking Wynn. Like they're running through the lobby like getting wild, and I'm like, yo, this is a Sheraton. in Edison, New Jersey, dude. Harold's Diner from Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives is across the parking lot. Like, chill, lady. We were walked into the after party, like the VIP after party, not like the area where the stars were hanging out, but like just where the attendees with the VIP wristbands were, like the dance floor. And we tried to figure out like what ratio of women on the floor who weren't there with their boyfriends or not. Just women on the floor who were currently getting G'd up by porn producers to be like, I can make you a star, baby.
Yeah.
And it's
dude.
like,
Yep.
that's what a lot of the women there are doing. They're trying to get their big break.
They're there to be discovered.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just grabbing finger foods, not gagging on anything.
Just taking bananas in one shot. Hell yeah.
Yeah, well, I want to hate, but I just can't. I've like that's been a growth thing within me, is like realizing how, having invested my entire life into comedy, how I have no leg to stand on judgment wise and for anything that anyone's into. Yeah, it's like I want to be a hater on this, but it's also like you can't really. It's people are stoked on it. It is what it is.
So I saw a lot of like dom and sub relationship. Like, this was a place where like they were comfortable with the like man on the leash, the girl on the leash.
Dudes dress up like a dog, really walking around on all fours.
I only saw one of those. But yes, that kind of stuff.
And all of these people can vote.
Yeah, dude.
and have jobs.
Just I have said for like I shouldn't be able to vote, dude. Like this country was
fuck though.
There should be testing for voting, and it should be an IQ test, or at the very least, like a cognitive test. Like, did you hear Trump bragging about passing a cognitive test?
No.
So apparently, like he was at Walter Reed, like the hospital that the president always goes to in DC, and they showed him like a bunch of like pictures with like animals or whatever, and he was like, oh yeah, that's a giraffe, that's an elephant, like, and they told him, I guess, to get him to take it, that it was an IQ test, but it was really like the cognitive test that they give to people and whether or not they have dementia.
He still knows what sailboats are.
And my man is sitting there like, I took that test. I did pretty well. I'd like to see AOC take that test.
Yeah. Then nation, high B. Oh, yeah, dude, like sick.
Dude, he was hyped on being like, yo, I knew all those animals. I'm mad smart.
Yeah. I actually remember all of my grandkids' names.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, good job, buddy.
Dude, that's better than Antonio Cromartie. He couldn't remember his own kids' names.
Dude, I used to, my grandma had pretty gnarly dementia and Alzheimer's.
Okay.
And I used to do a bit about it, and it would just bum people out. And I always thought it was so fun, but it was like, did you ever had anyone in your life with Alzheimer's?
Not where like I saw it first.
Okay,
no.
but you're a dude who's partied quite a bit in his life.
Yeah.
So it's like when you meet someone out at like a bar or something, and you're like, oh, dude, I know you. You're fucking Steve with that sick ass bong, and they're like, no, and you're like, okay, oh no, you're Mark, and you had the unicycle that one time, and they're like, no, I'm your son. And you're like, oh shit, my bad.
Right. I knew the face. I definitely knew the face.
Dude, so you're living out in Queens these days. You have a damn family, and a wife, and a kid. Against all odds.
100%. Well, no, honestly, it's not against all odds, because it's, like we were just talking about earlier, like the persistency thing is key. Like, it is like pretty early on into like working with Alex in the Internal Olympics. I would say like by the end of our first month, we did Skankfest together, and we spent like a full, pretty much like, I want to say we spent 64 of 72 hours together. And I was like, oh yeah, like this is the girl I want to marry. Like I know that. So I spent the next like 4 years pretty much just being like, all right, you're going to get married soon, so you better be as much of a whore as possible. And then, like the moment she was like, hey, you've cleaned yourself up enough to fuck again, like let's try this family thing out. I was like, all right, bet. Like I kind of always just saw that as the path. And it was like, I don't know. I guess it's like, yeah, from the outside, it's certainly against all odds, but it was never in doubt for your boy.
It's awesome, man. I'm so happy for you guys. Every time I see you guys together, you're so stoked. And she's so talented and such a sweetheart. It's just, it's cool to see, to go from just like hearing you guys on show doing my shitty dog walking job in Chicago to getting to know you guys it's such a treat to have watched you grow and change and to be at a point where you have friends who, when they tell you that they're pregnant and they're having a kid, that you aren't like, oh no, fuck. That you're actually like, oh, sick. I'm so hyped for you guys. You're going to be great at this.
I think the only one who was like, I mean, you're going to abort it, right? I think was Fagan. I was like, you're a man child. Like, what are you talking about? Which I think automatically disqualified him from Godfather duties.
Who is the Godfather?
My brother.
Oh, great.
Yeah. So the first one was easy. Like, that was a layup. It was actually kind of cool. Like, there was no doubt about that. My brother was going to be the godfather of our first child, and Kim Congdon is the baby's godmother.
Incredible.
Yeah. So like, Alex has no sisters. There's no, like it didn't really make sense for like, any cousins or anything. Like, they're all like too young. And it was like, if there's one person in this world who I would want giving my baby spiritual guidance, it's Kim. Like, she is like I feel like she very much weighs the balance of karma with all of her actions.
And has truly has a winner's mentality and a gnarly work ethic.
And it's like, she's the type where it's like, if you ever wronged her, you will be repaid in spades, for sure. And it's like, if you've been kind to her, like, your blessings will be bountiful. Like, there's no middle ground with her. And it's like, I don't know, that seems like a very righteous person to be like, imparting the spiritual side onto my kid.
Yeah, and can teach him how to, roll a blunt right.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I will say you will have a hard time providing discipline in that area of like with the hours and hours of stuff that's on the internet being like, hey, you need to not smoke when they're like 16 or whatever, being like, you need to not smoke weed, you need to lock in. And they're going to be like, smoking weed, not locking in, got us this damn house.
Listen, Alex is, I'm dragging her down, right? Everybody knows that, right? I fucked around and tricked her into falling in love with me. She locked in while smoking weed. I don't think I'm going to, like, I grew up in a house where, there was never, like, you could never have soda. You know what I mean? There was never soda available. Like, it was, my mom would have, diet caffeine-free horse shit for her, but it was like, we never had sugar soda in the house. And anytime I left the house, I would be desperate for sugar. And it's like, I feel like I also had that same reaction with, like, drugs and alcohol when I was younger.
Yeah.
To where it's like, this was so vilified and so demonized that, I went off the deep end where it's like, if I feel like I can have like a rational, cool head with my kid, like I was thinking about like this as a prospect. Like, yeah, I think Kim and my daughter are going to smoke weed together before me and my daughter smoke weed together. Like, obviously. And it's like, I don't know. I don't think I'm going to. What I would really hope for would be, I don't know if you spent any time around Tim Butterly and his wonderful family.
Dude, it's unbelievable. They are the sweetest. MJ is like truly an angel.
Super mom.
And the kids are so nice.
They're a unit, dude.
It's awesome. I love Tim Butterly so much, man. I have the utmost respect for that guy, and meeting their family unit was so downright wholesome.
Truly.
And I love it.
So, like, the goal, I think, is to raise, I want to try to follow that model as much as possible, where it's like, this is a home where you're very open and honest about like what's going on with that. You're not hiding this stuff from your kids, but you're also imparting on them like, hey, there is a time and a place for this. And like you're in a position now where your brain's not fully formed and there's still a lot more choices and stuff that you're going to be making in your life in the next few years that you might want to have a clear head for. But like, what they're going to do, they're going to do, and like trying to, I've seen it with my 2-year-old, dude. Trying to impose my will on a 2-year-old just leads to her like freaking out, not listening to a goddamn word I say. So it's like, I'd much rather work with her than work against her.
I think that's an unbelievably astute and mature approach to the whole situation.
Like it's a human thing, right? Like I feel like that's what I don't know, man. Like I've spent a lot of time thinking about this since I had a kid. Like I was nervous as fuck about having kids because it's like, what do I know about I only know parenting from my parents, and it's like not really though. Like if I genuinely do look around and see other people who are doing it the right way, I can pick up these little tips and tricks and try to like whatever, dude, just try to do the right thing by this kid, like in a way that like my parents never would have even thought to do. And it's like, that's so cool. I can impart all the good on her without needing to put the trauma on her. How nice would that be?
Oh, I mean, a task that no human being has ever pulled off successfully.
This is gonna be the one.
Dude, I'm not gonna fuck this kid up at all, dude. It's like, no, you for sure are, dude. It's all good. You for sure are. Wait, were your parents super religious?
My dad was pretty Catholic. He got my mom to convert when I was a teenager. I would say, though, I think I was more into it than they were at a certain point in my upbringing.
Shot.
Oh, dog. I wanted, like... So I remember when they told about like the sacraments in CCD. I was like, well, like I'm definitely going to I got baptized already. I'm going to get communion, get confirmed, knock those out easy. But it's either going to get married or become a priest. You can't do both, right? So I was like really trying to figure out which one of the 6 of the 7 sacraments I was going to like. That was a big. It was weighing heavily on my conscience in the 2nd grade.
No shot, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Never in a million years would I thought you would have ever had any sort of relationship with God.
Oh, dude, no. I mean, I haven't had a drink since 2007, and I will tell everyone till the day is long. Like I was divinely touched, dude. Like the Lord did for me what I could not do for myself and relieved that thirst. Like I'm tempting fate if I ever drink, another beer again, which is why I don't. But I know that like the need for alcohol that I had was at one point removed after I prayed to a God of my understanding. Like I have no doubt about that.
Whoa, dude.
Yeah.
Mine, I quit drinking because I was like, I think I'll get like 10% better at comedy.
I mean, that's why most people in their 30s be doing that.
Well, I was 27.
Okay, fair.
Oh, I felt like the biggest dork on planet Earth.
Why?
Because you don't want to be in your 20s being like, I can't do this anymore.
I literally stopped drinking at 19, dude.
That's pretty good.
Like I went my whole 20s without taking a drink. I treat it the same way that I treat my producer extraordinaire title, where I'm like, yeah, comedy's gay. I'm not a comedian. Comedy's gay, dude. I don't drink. Drinking's gay. But like, yeah, please, like, have a beer. It's cool. Like I think it is fun. I like hanging out with people who've been drinking. Like I feel like I start like my day at like a nice little like 2 or 3 Bud Light buzz. Like that's my normal walking around energy. So I'm cool with drinking, but I don't know. Does nothing for me.
That's first of all, I didn't know that you didn't drink. Shout out to it. Good work. Fuck yeah, hell yeah. But also, I had no idea that you were a God guy. I'm staunch atheist.
Really?
Oh, big time, dude.
Wow.
I think that if there is a God, not only should we not be worshiping him, we should be actively at war with this motherfucker.
Wow, that seems like a losing battle.
Well, obviously.
Why not go try to fight Trump? Like, go a step down.
Well, that I'm back too. I mean, that's another one where I've been like so on the like just like pure apathy side of things, and then now I used to be like protesting is so dumb. I still think that it doesn't evoke the change that some people do, but it's like without any sort of recourse, that is, you have to do that. You have to get in the street and be like, fuck this shit.
It's nuts how effective Occupy Wall Street was. Like to the point where they just started splinter selling every one of the groups that came together for Occupy Wall Street into like racial and sexual identity politics. Like if you look at like that was the one like mass demonstration of our time that started to affect some change. And like what we settled for was like Chase Bank sponsoring the Pride Parade. But like, you know, like it did at one point put pressure on them.
Dude, Mike Harrington, radical fucking god, bro. Never in a million years would I've seen this coming. God damn it, I love you. You're a fucking onion of each layer is more. The more I know you, the more I love you, dude. Yeah. No, I'm like fully in the camp of this is all it's just pure luck. The you know the right gases and molecules came together, and this is we are on a singular ride. We are talking monkeys who have completely lost the plot. The way we've set up society is ludicrous. I think that the fact that there are any sort of we've evolved in so many ways. We've created instantaneous information that can travel the globe, and yet we still view each other as these like tribes, and we draw these borders that are ridiculous. And I know I sound like a fucking idiot, but it's fine. And we just need to look at each other as everybody is humans and just all be nice to each other and be like, why the fuck are we letting these banker cunts run everything? We can just have a nice time. Why can stop blowing each other up, for the love of God.
I mean, well, like,
which is like a very simplistic way to look at things. I know, but it's like, God damn it, we all need to wake up and just be nice to each other.
But why couldn't? All right, so like in that same thing though, like the same applies if this was, you know, divinely inspired, and you know, God set the motions in play from the Big Bang to now to make this the one Goldilocks planet that evolved life to a point where we could have a 3-camera shoot and have 2 guys doing a podcast for shits and giggles. Like the God intended through all of his messengers for us to be living a certain way, and that way does not involve like the super mega rich fighting wars for resources constantly, right? Like taking away natural, literally, you know, they call them God-given rights, like, you know, the access to water that Nestle is buying up, the 2.100 gallons that are going to be coming out of Lake Michigan every day to cool off Microsoft data centers. Like you look at all of the things that like, you know, the farmland that Bill Gates is buying through the foundation, and it's like, you know, that also flies in the face of a good and just God who has given us rules to live by time and time again through different prophets and different iterations of you know, his teaching. Like, for it to...
You hear that, venue owners? If you don't have free water for people to come into your fucking venues, you're against God.
You are.
I completely agree with. It's so horrifying when you realize that the leaders of the world are just playing Settlers of Catan with all of the things that we all need to live with.
And it's like, it's less even the leaders of the world now, and it's like 7 tech companies, and then like China. You know what I mean? And it's like, that's really what the chessboard is right now. Like, Russia's a distraction. Like, this North Korea is a distraction.
Nothing is real. If everything is about money.
Yeah.
It's crazy. When you think about war, it was like war for the longest time was like whenever you see the like in like old movies like World War II, and it's like Winston Churchill's in a room and they have the big board and they're like pushing the tanks around. You like realize that it's just a bunch of drunk guys pushing little tanks in a room, and then another group of drunk guys pushing tanks in a room, sending off children to go murder each other.
Yeah.
Very upsetting.
I mean, you know, for the president who promised us, like, yeah, I'm the not war guy, the guy who ran on, I'm the only president in 10 presidents or whatever to not start a new war, and then for him to immediately be like, yo, all right, we gotta get way more bombs into Israel because we're setting up for Iran. We gotta get way more missiles into Ukraine because Putin didn't shine my shoes or whatever. Like, you know, it does suck to see like the mass casualty events, and like you know what?
It's bad when guys like us are fired up about it.
But it's like these guys keep coming back to the table. Like, for instance, in Gaza, right? Like the peace proposal that they ended up signing, it was the same one that was on the table that Biden was working on before he was out of office. So it's like we literally just spent another year, killed however many more people, tens of thousands of more people, hundreds maybe, leveled buildings, made Gaza completely uninhabitable, and like to go back to the table and sign the exact same peace deal, like it's the most needless waste of life. Like, you gained nothing from this extra year except that Lockheed Martin stock went up, Palantir stock went up, and it's like, all right, who owns those companies? So do those guys just run the world?
Without question. It's the corporate interest is so fucking prevalent, and because you can't get to the level of power that these guys have without all of that cash.
Right.
And you got to pay the piper, dude. It's like taking loans from the mob, man.
Exactly. You got to start rigging NBA games.
Yeah, dude. That whole thing's been wild.
Bro. Have you been keeping up with this?
I only know a little bit. All I know is that there was a
man named Pookie involved.
Of course there is, dude. Come on. You think they're gonna run out without Pookie getting his fingers in a couple pies?
There's like an Armenian Bruce. There was like a Slovakian Bruce or something. Yo, it's nuts. I don't understand how any of this happened, and I don't understand how it's so far-reaching. Like, I don't understand how Terry Rozier's point shaving scandal is and injury concern is somehow related to rigged poker games that Chauncey Billups was hosting.
I don't know enough about it other than I literally saw the headline of NBA betting scandal, but it's been real quiet. It feels like people are talking about it on social media, but are they talking about it is ESPN talking about it?
Oh yeah, ESPN was talking about it, and they actually it was like a very funny moment where they when the segment started, they had their ESPN bet logo in the bottom right hand corner, and about halfway through they realized and just dumped it.
dump it.
Get rid of that. No good.
Yeah. The gambling, I don't know how to feel about the prevalence of and the ease at which people gamble these days. I think you're the master of your own destiny. Gamble if you want.
Right.
It's fun, it's entertainment, but it does. In the same way that people are they're this shit ruins lives, we have to outlaw this thing, and it's but so does booze, so does weed. You have to give people the choice, I think.
Well, again, it's what's frustrating is it goes back to money as well. It's like, this never would have gotten passed, never would have gotten legalized if DraftKings and FanDuel wasn't spending a ton of money with corporate lobbyists to, New York resisted sports gambling for 70 years. You know what I mean?
But that's because they were all getting kickbacks from all the local sports books.
Sure. So it's that is true. The local mafiosos were don't legalize it. And then DraftKings was all right, you're a millionaire, we're billionaires. We'll beat you. So, it's I don't know, man. As somebody who does gamble quite a bit, there is a certain level of this feels predatory. I've been thinking a lot about that. Now I'm a stocks guy too now. So it's all day I'm looking at my stock portfolio go up and down. Then all night I'm checking box scores to see points. And I'm this is going to put me in an early grave. It just is. There's no way it's not.
What are you betting on?
I go, it's pretty much, I keep it to just Saturdays and Sundays. So I do, I go big I bet a lot on the UFC, and I bet a lot on, just NFL Sundays. And
I would think you have a lot of insight and knowledge about MMA.
Yeah.
So I feel that makes a lot of sense. It's when you start doing stuff I lost $500 on betting on a Ghana soccer game at 1 o'clock in the morning.
So
it's that's where you don't want to be. You don't want to be looking at Korean baseballs.
Is it the pandemic and that's the only thing that's happening? Because I've been there. Tell me I haven't had been at my limit with my bookie and trying to chase on XFL games. So it's like ultimately, I think a DraftKings and a FanDuel is actually nice for that because you have to put the money in beforehand versus like
I think it's certainly I mean, when people talk about the
just
dangers
having
of
a line
sports,
of credit with a bookie.
is so much more dangerous.
So dangerous.
So much more
It's such a like, dude. The amount of times I've been like, oh no, I can get that 700 back, and now I'm 3,800 in the hole, and I'm like, fuck, dude. And I don't have enough in my limit left to even win it back. Oh, it's painful. Like those are truly like you go to bed and your stomach's turning all night. You feel like it's garbage. But
okay, so as someone who's I've only ever placed legitimate sports bets, like either at a sportsbook at casino or on one of the apps.
Okay,
what was it like placing bets pre that?
So when I started, when I started doing it, guys would take. They would just take Bovada, right? Because Bovada was like you could access it from anywhere, but it was super hard to get money onto and super hard to get money off of.
What's Bovada?
Bovada was like it was Bodog before it was Bovada. It was like an old school, like you know what MyBookie is now? Yeah. Like kind of like that, like an offshore gambling platform that like, you could technically access in America, but you probably use a VPN, like very shady.
Like the old school poker sites.
Kinda. Yeah. Kind of like that. Like those were actually initially legal in America, and then Black Friday happened, and then they weren't.
Yeah,
and that was like a whole thing where guys couldn't get their money out for years.
I had a buddy who lost, like, we were in high school. He was 16. He was up like 25 grand. Lost it all Black Friday.
That's wild.
Yeah,
because it's like, and like I heard about guys all the time where it's like, they had like 400 grand tied up. One guy had like maybe 8 million tied up, and it's like that sucks. But you weren't in high school, and that's life-changing money in high school.
He told me, he was like, dude, I have $16,000, and I was like, you have $125,000, dude.
It's like, dog, just cash out 6. Just cash out, leave 10, cash out 6, just so you get something out of it.
He also was the dude who hit me to the greatest weed buying scam of all time in high school. I was like, dude, I never have cash for weed, and he goes, oh, dude, I got you. You ask your mom for the card to be like, you need to go get some groceries or whatever. And if she'll give it to you, get the debit card, and then you hit a little cash back on the way out. They'll never know, dude.
Truly.
Kept me in dub sacks for fucking 3 years, dude.
This kid was a known scammer. Like, that was just his thing.
He also introduced me to, which this has to have been patched. There's no way that the devs are on top of this one. But you could, any product, there still is a number on the back for a helpline. So you have like the Kraft mac and cheese.
Sure.
And he would call him up and be like, yo, I got this box of mac and cheese. I opened the powdered cheese. It was all clumped in balls. I ate it anyway, made me sick as hell, whatever. And then the company would send you coupons that you could then go use at the real store. So this dude had scams for days.
I love it, dude. We found out about that in like the 4th grade because they just had us write companies. And it's like, back in the day, if you sent Hershey a letter, they would just send you like a box of chocolate bars and like coupons for chocolate bars in your local grocery store.
Back when this country was a country, goddammit.
Dude, we need to make America chocolate again. So the way it would work is you would go on Bovada, right? You put in like, let's say you queue up whatever the bet you want is, and then in the window there, you put in the number like, $50 to win, 48.75 on the Jets, right? And you screenshot that. You send it in a WhatsApp chat because WhatsApp is end-to-end encryption, and the guy would look. He would check it against what the current line was, and if it was good and he wanted to take the action, he would write back confirmed. And so anything that got the confirm tag would be good to go. Then they would keep their numbers, and they would text you at the end of the week. Like typically we get a text Sunday night or after Monday Night Football, like maybe a Tuesday morning. And then guys would make their collections. It was like collection day was Wednesday and Thursday, payout day was Friday. And that was that. But then they got smart and they were able to do what was called the per head shop. So somebody would set up like just a whitelist sports betting account, and they would have all the lines up there, and you would be able to control those lines from the back end depending on what action came in for you. and they called it a per head site because you would be paying $5 a week per open account on the site. So if you're a gambler, like if you go 3 weeks without playing, they would just shut your site down because they're not losing the $5 a week on you. But as long as you kept a balance running, like it was just they would keep your balance in the same deal. It was like, pickups would be on Tuesday and Wednesday now because it's quicker. And because they had to get money in a money order to the Caymans because they got to pay their per heads to keep it running for another week.
That's so many fucking hoops to jump through.
It was a lot. And it's like, DraftKings and MGM just makes it a hell of a lot easier. And it's like, I don't know how these bookies survive now.
My thought with the black market for sports betting is that it has to be just dudes who have completely burned the other sports books. They're like completely cashed out. There's no upside to having a guy who's going to come looking for that cash.
Well, I mean, the upside is that you get a line of credit. You know what I mean? So it's like you don't need that money up front. You got a settlement check coming Monday and you want to gamble on Sunday. Like you have until Tuesday to get the payout money to this guy. So I don't know. Francesa used to claim that all the time on New York sports radio. He's like, I don't care if sports gambling is legalized in New York. Guys are always going to want the line of credit. It's like, I don't know. I'm really not sure there, dog.
Yeah, I mean, because it's not like the black market for weed where it's there's still the upside is you're going to get a better price on the street.
Do you? I don't think I get better. Like, I know black market guys, and like they're having a real hard time competing with the retail guys.
That's also true
because it's like the retail guys, like that. You got to understand, like it got legalized in New York way back in, I believe, 2020.
Yeah,
it got voted through, and we didn't start having like actual like brands and stores and recreational dispensaries open until like really last year.
Buying weed in New York is a nightmare.
Is it?
I think so.
I love it now. It's so easy for me.
I don't believe anyone. There's so many of these. There's like 5 legal dispensaries in New York. The rest,
no. There's 6 there is 6 in a 3-mile radius from my home.
Okay, well maybe I might just not be doing the legwork.
Come on out to Whitestone, dog. We living good out here.
Yeah,
I literally have an app on my phone. This is so crazy to me now. I have an app on my phone. I scroll through. I'm like, sure, I'll take like 2 of the Hepworth pre-rolls. Oh, they got a sale. Like there's a buy one, get one on this thing. I click that in. I pay, 2 clicks. I'm paid. They send me a text. We received your order. And then they send me a text. Your order's ready. As I'm driving up, I call them. They come out to the car and drop it off.
That's nice.
Bro, remember when you would call your guy and be waiting for like 2 hours for a dude to show up with a 20 bag? And
yes.
It was like, what the
Yes,
fuck?
I remember being in St. Pete, Florida. We'd drive to go get the shit, and then they go into a house, and then someone come out and they go, they robbed us. They just took our money. And you go, well, how was that an option? No.
Oh my god, dude! Remember getting robbed? Like high school kids getting robbed?
Yeah,
it's nuts.
It's so dangerous.
Yeah,
we used to. So I had my thing in high school was I had this one buddy. Worked at Taco Bell. Nice. Free Crunch Wraps.
Hell yeah. That rocks.
He would get off work at like he was the cleaning captain.
Okay.
So he would get off work at like 11:45. He would come pick me up. Free Crunch Wrap. Nice. Not too shabby. He would he was like the first guy who had real weed in St. Pete.
Okay.
Because it was back when it was $20 for an eighth of just like truly horrific, like Christmas decoration level, horrible weed. And so he was the only guy who
Is this tinsel?
Yeah, for real. He would drive across the bridge to Tampa and get like actual weed.
Okay.
Like you like back when weed meant something, when you're like, oh, this is super silver haze, and you're like, oh, exciting.
No way.
Oh, sick, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, it's actual sour diesel. And he was charging people $30 a gram. And it was the best. We would just drive around in his fucking Mazda 2. We'd sell to like old ladies. And by we sell, I mean he would sell weed and I would just smoke free weed, which is like so dumb to be in a state where that it's so punished at that time. Like they really want to lock you up.
You were literally the guy from the TLC song "No Scrubs," like just hanging out the passenger side of your best friend's ride.
Truly a scrub, dude. Just putting myself in so much danger just for a little bit of free weed, and just overcharging the shit out of people was great.
Damn, that rocks. Dude, selling weed in the suburbs was probably the most fun job I ever had. I was so good at it. Like it was truly like next level. Like I would go see my boy, he would hook me up with like a big ass pack. It was like I don't know, it'd be like $700 worth of weed in the 20 bags already bagged up. Every bag I sold, I keep $5, give him nothing up front. Like it's just straight on consignment. And it was like, dude, by like, I don't know, 3 weeks in, I'm like just pulling into the gas station to like buy blunts or whatever, the cigars. And I got like Swedish tourist with like a baby seat in the back seat being like, can I buy some weed off you? And I'm like, dude, this rules. Like this is I like that high maintenance show. Like it very much had vibes of that, where it's like, and that's the other nice thing. It's like if anybody's throwing a party, I know where that party's going to be. Like somebody's going to hit me up for weed at that party if I didn't get the text from some girl or whatever, you know?
Yeah, I was always a terrible, the brief moments that I've sold weed, I was the world's worst drug dealer. I was just so stoked to hook all my friends up with the best deal of their life.
Doggy.
I would be like, I'll smoke like an eighth. I'll get it back on the next one. I was horrible, dude. I was horrible. But I did have a group of friends who were out in New Jersey who they had like a proper crew. There was like 9 of these dudes, and they were the guys for this whole section of New Jersey. And I remember I was
like The Wire, but weed.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I was over at I was at my buddy's place. They're in the basement. The one guy's like weighing out Molly, and the other kids, and they were like, they had like a system. They worked in like shifts. They were like, I got 8 to 1, I'm going, and then 1 to 7. They were selling weed around the clock.
Sick.
And it was this one weekend where all the kids were back from college. They're back in this town, and this kid walks into the basement and goes, "Guys, we did it." And they're like, "What?" He goes, "I just got the sickest text of my life. A kid just texted me that you can't buy a blunt within 3 miles of this house, dude." They had sold out all the blunts at all the gas stations. And they were like celebrating like they had won the fucking Super Bowl, dude.
Yo, yes. Yes, dude. That is true sales growth. That rocks.
Yeah, it was
I
great.
love it.
It was great.
Oh, what a moment. You were there for that?
I was.
Like, that's got to be like, that's like the Wolf of Wall Street, like getting the Steve Madden IPO moment.
They were like, you want a grape white owl? You got to drive to the next town, bro.
Yeah, dude. You got to go at least 4 miles from where I'm standing.
So funny, dude. But, bro, Mike, you're the fucking man.
You're the man, Toby. Thank you so much for coming out to the Armor League. That was a lot of fun having you there.
It was a blast. Yeah, and keep your eyes out for that video. I'm hyped on it. It's going to be a fun one. Anything else I can plug before you get out of here?
No, just once again, 11:20 at Melrose Ballroom. Tickets available at thearmoredleague.com.
It's a good fucking time, man. Get out there, check it out. And they have tons of videos online.
Whoa, I forgot the thing that I actually wanted to promote. Oh my God. I'm fighting at Skankfest. Veep is the place that is streaming it. Go there, buy the pay-per-view, because for the first time in my life, I'm getting pay-per-view points on a fight. It would be very cool if I could cash even a $5 check.
Yeah, let's go.
Nice.
Let's go.
So nice to be like, I'm a pay-per-view athlete.
Yeah, and also, big ups to you. You've stepped in the ring a couple, 2-3 times at this point.
I love it. It's the only thing that gets me back in shape. I get so fat, and then my wife is like, "We got to handle this," and I'm like, "All right, I got to be your intern then, I guess."
Yeah, it's you and Jake, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna fuck him up.
I believe that so wholeheartedly. I mean, if there's a line on you, I'm putting the house on it.
And we do need to. I'm gonna see if we can get that on Kalshi, because you can bet anything on Kalshi. So let's see if we can get that up there. That'd be fun.
That'd be sick. Dude, I'll bet on you.
Hell yeah,
no doubt. But bro, thank you. Thanks again for coming by. Love you to death. Check out all the good shit they have over at Gas Digital. I mean, truly one of the pinnacles of independent broadcasting here in New York City. Mr. Mike Harrington, thanks so much for coming by. Please subscribe, YouTube, audio platforms, all that shit. Thank you so much, and I'll catch you in a week. Later.